Hello and welcome back to Grim Survival. Today is whatever day this is being uploaded because it's not going to be the same day of recording, so we'll just keep that in mind. I'm reading a couple articles and we're going to talk about censorship yet again. I've talked about it a little bit in this channel because I've been censored. A lot of prepper channels are being censored. They don't censor the survival channels as much because a lot of the survival channels don't do a lot of news, but quite a few of us do. If you haven't checked out Full Spectrum Survival, they do a lot of news over there, a lot of good information on that channel. I follow them as much as I can. Ice Age Farmer obviously isn't really considered to be survival or prepping by name, but he gets censored a lot also. Bear Independent, same thing. He is a prepping channel, but he's not named prepping channel, but he also censored a lot. Prepper Nurse, every time he tries to do a live stream, he has to do it like 3 or 4 times to get it to stick. You know, censoring is happening a lot. Even myself, I'm still not allowed to do mobile live streams. I have, everything I've read on YouTube says that I am qualified to do. I have met the requirements to do mobile live streams, yet they still are denying me, telling me I'm not eligible for the same reason I showed you last time. Alright, I have a couple articles here from SOTT.net, Signs of the Times News. That's SOTT.net. Check them out if you haven't. This is where I'm getting this information. I got 2 articles from here I'm going to read a little bit of and just go over a little bit of censoring. I will post these I will throw them up on the screen here so you can see what I'm looking at also, somewhere right about there. Alright, Facebook labels 2 + 2 = 4 misinformation. So Facebook either cannot do math or they don't believe math is real. That's funny. Alright, on October 5th, the WHO, which is the World Health Organization's Dr. Michael Ryan, claimed about 10% of the global population had been infected with SARS-CoV-2, which is, as far as I know, COVID, with an alleged death toll of roughly 1 million. That puts infection fatality ratio roughly 0.14%. He said that we reported it, the math's not disputable, and yet Facebook flagged it as misinformation. Facebook flagged basic math and people from the World Health Organization as misinformation. I mean, just think about that for a minute. The World Health Organization, they're supposed to have the information, right? Facebook says it's not true, that their information's not true. So the World Health Organization also tells us to wear masks. They've also told us lockdowns, and then they change it to no lockdowns, and then they change it back to lockdowns. So maybe it is misinformation. Maybe Facebook's got something going on there. But yeah, 2 + 2 = 4. Apparently not, according to Facebook. All right. Let's see. I'm still reading the article here. This is based on an article by Health Feedback and an independent fact checker, which is, inaccurate and dishonest. They lie about what Dr. Ryan said. They attempt to disguise this lie. They won't understand how averages work. Blah, blah, blah. They rely on old data for IFR estimates. Their choice of data sources are incredibly poor. They cite a Twitter thread from February for the IFR of flu instead of any studies or journals. They also cite the CDC's IFR number, or COVID, for COVID, without mentioning it's based on meta-analysis from May, which has never been peer-reviewed. I'll learn to speak one a day. Man, I really can't talk today. All right, let's try that again. They also cite CDC's IFR number for COVID without mentioning it's based on meta-analysis from May, which has never been peer-reviewed and included modeling data rather than being based on purely, it's not based on fact. It's based on modeling data. So they built a computer model, they ran a simulation, and then the simulation told them this, and they used that as factual numbers when it's not been proven fact. It's just a computer model. All right. They ignore the most IFR studies, and yeah, this is just a lot of Facebook just ignoring studies. Obviously, Facebook's not the only one doing this. I'm going to go ahead and move over to the next article because the next one is a little more entertaining, in my opinion. All right, the next article I'm going to pop up on the screen here is how to put a stop to Twitter's game playing on censorship. The much misunderstood Section 230 of the 1996 Communications Decency Act is in the spotlight again. Twitter, and to a lesser extent Facebook, suppressed reporting that Joe Biden abetted his son Hunter cashing in on the then vice president's political influence. So back when he was vice president, his son was cashing in on the influence. There's a lot of information on that. There's a lot of information on Joe Biden's son getting money from Russia, getting money from China. There's a lot of information on Joe Biden's son smoking crack and doing all kinds of things that Mr. Biden doesn't want you to know that his son is doing because he supports that kind of thing. I mean, there are videos of the guy with female prostitutes and doing drugs and explicit content that I'm just not going to bring up on this channel. But you know what I mean. Look it up. Just don't look it up on Twitter or Facebook. Twitter has also blocked the doctor from the WHO anytime a doctor or a medical professional tries to give their opinion on a mask that, you know, is not the opinion of Twitter or the left or of the supporters of the left. Anytime Twitter or Facebook, well now Facebook, has been doing that, these posts have been banned. They really have. So let's just go a little bit more into this. I gotta find where it said it, into this Twitter thing. Here it is. The Biden news was broken by the New York Post, the nation's fourth largest daily circulation, whose Twitter account with 1.8 million followers remains suspended as of this writing. So the New York Post put out the article about Joe Biden's son doing things he should not be doing illegal things, illegal activities that Mr. Biden's son has been, you know, doing. And yeah, the New York Post got banned from Twitter for it, or suspended, as they like to call it, suspended. Now this is just censorship. This is, you know, furthering what I said in a previous video talking about the blatant violation of the First Amendment. The First Amendment gives us the right to free speech. Huge corporations like Twitter and Google, who own YouTube, and the owners of Facebook think that they don't have to abide by the First Amendment. They think that they are private organizations, and therefore as a private organization they can force you not to say anything they don't want you to say. I don't see it that way. I think that is wrong. I think if you open your business up to the public to use their business any way the public sees fit, such as YouTube, it's free. Anybody can post a YouTube video. Anybody can do it. Anybody can post a YouTube video and put any content they want up. Now, if that is the case, and YouTube allows that, how can they say that they are a private organization and then tell you what you can and can't say? I mean, yeah, sure, they are a private organization, but they have opened up their platform to public and to the public use. And therefore, in my opinion, and my logical brain tells me that that is a public service. It's a public thing now. It's been open to the public, so the public can use it. And therefore, they should have to abide by public rules or the laws of the public, which states that we have the freedom of speech. Even though we still have the freedom of speech, we don't all believe that we have the freedom of speech here in this country, because obviously things like YouTube and Twitter and Facebook don't believe you have the freedom of speech. They believe you only have the freedom to say what they want you to say. They believe that you only have the freedom to conform to what their beliefs are. They only think you have the freedom to do what they want you to do. Google being sued. Google, the owners of YouTube, being sued for being a monopoly, for basically being a big bully on the block. Anybody else who tries to step up with other search engines or other platforms similar to YouTube, they badmouth them, shut them down, and do all the bad things that they shouldn't be doing. There's proof of this. There is proof of this. There's so much proof of this that the United States government has filed a lawsuit against them. Now, is that going to go anywhere? Probably not. Probably not. And the only reason the government's filing a lawsuit against Google is because the government wants more money. Google's going to pay them a couple $1 billion to shut up. That couple $1 billion is going to go to fund your next stimulus check. Assuming you actually get one, assuming we get one, right? Censorship. So like I said, I'm being censored also. They haven't blocked any of my videos, but they also won't monetize my channel. They won't let me do mobile live streams, and etc, etc, etc. They just won't. They say no. Even though I'm eligible according to everything I've read on their terms of service, I'm not eligible according to them because they didn't feel that I needed to be eligible today. Yeah, that's what it is. One thing on there, it says about my live streaming, it says that for mobile live streaming, it could take up to 24 hours for them to process it. And this is after I hit 1,000 subscribers. Well, that's been more than 24 hours ago, as far as I know. I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it. I also know that YouTube doesn't update its analytics, but about, I think it's once a week or once every 2 or 3 days. I don't remember right offhand. It's one of those, either a couple of days or a week. But either way, it's been longer than that too. So updating their analytics isn't the problem. I'm definitely eligible according to their community standards or their community guidelines. That's what I'm looking for. Community guidelines. So I'm eligible. Yet I'm not eligible because I'm not. That's all they say. They won't tell me why. They just say I'm not. Why am I not? Because they don't want me to be, obviously. I tend to speak out more and I give my opinion more. I say the G word and other words on here I shouldn't be saying. I talk about politics, I talk about religion, and I talk about firearms. I do. I don't never, you know, hold my firearm up to the camera, but close enough. You have seen my knives, a couple of them. Yeah. But whatever. Whatever. That's what I say to you, YouTube and Twitter and Facebook. Whatever. Because you know what? You cannot shut us up. Go ahead and ban all the prepper accounts. Go ahead and block all the preppers from YouTube. Go ahead. Because we're still going to find a way to communicate. We are still going to make our voices heard. We are still going to be loud, and we are still not going to shut up. At least speaking for myself, I'm not going to shut up. I haven't never learned how. I tried to once, didn't work out for me. Alright, this has been enough out of me. This is James with Grim Survival. Give me a thumbs up. Remember, don't shut up. Let your voices be heard. Go out, vote. You know, if you think it... Yeah, we'll leave that for a different video. Go out and vote and you know, make your voices heard. Don't be afraid to walk up to the poll and vote for whoever you want to vote for. Even if there's a crowd of armed people there telling you who you have to vote for, walk right through them. Do it anyway. Do it anyway. Don't put yourself in harm's way if you don't have to. Really don't. If you have, you know, if you can't defend yourself, yeah, just avoid mobs. Mobs with guns, avoid them. Alright, this country's gone to you-know-where. It's swirling around the bowl, and, you know, we're just waiting for it to go completely down the drain. We are waiting for it. It hadn't quite gone all the way down yet, but we're teetering on the edge there. Alright, like I said, this has been James with Grim Survival. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.